As we look at what the Conservative government in Ontario and indeed the Conservative governments across the country are doing on climate change, we can talk about that shortly, but just in terms of cuts to services, cuts to kids, it is really frightening.
Justin Trudeau has failed this country when it comes to standing up for Buy America.
Welcome back to Power and Politics and the Power Panel with Melissa Lantsman, Andrew Thompson, and David Ertel. Melissa, I'm going to start with you because these two clips stood out to me. It's like a summer brawl between Justin Trudeau and Doug Ford, and it's certainly, I think, interesting as we head towards this fall election. How do you think it will shape the narrative going forward?
Well, that's exactly it. This is all about the federal election, and it's completely disingenuous on both parts, frankly. I had never heard the Prime Minister before this, and I asked my fellow panelists if they'd ever heard him speak about education, because we had 15 years of a Liberal government here where the schools are in disrepair and the math scores are really low, and frankly, we'd never heard him talk about that. And at the beginning of the conversation with, at the beginning of Doug Ford's term, of Premier Ford's term, he did talk about Buy America. I think it was a working relationship, but that was farther away from the federal election. So I suspect that you'll see the Liberals running against Doug Ford in Ontario and not on the record. Yeah, Andrew, what do you think? And I think what struck me today and why it sort of stood out to me today was because it was in front of a group of teachers and initially with the Prime Minister's comments, and he sort of started talking about his own fears about his kids, and he used, as you heard, that word frightening. He talks so much about what's happening with Doug Ford and so much less about what Andrew Scheer is doing. And I wonder what the implications of that are.
Well, it's interesting because the implication, this could cut either way. Either the Prime Minister looks really quite impotent on these issues and unable to actually, do anything to make the country better if he continues to play up this kind of problem. Or he succeeds in, running against somebody that he's not actually running for federal office. And I'm not sure right now which way that plays out. I don't think that the electorate has enough patience to watch this kind of skirmish between these two individuals play out over the next 3 or 4 months. This could just be, a situation that we're going to see over the summer before it actually turns to more serious issues. But this has the real feel of some kind of a grudge match between the two, and I think that that's an unfortunate place for the country to be headed.
Politically, what do you think about it, David? I mean, as far from a strategic point of view, and I ask because I think about the example in Alberta where Jason Kenney very much ran against Justin Trudeau, invoked his name in a negative way more than he ever invoked his actual opponent, Rachel Notley, in a negative way, and it ended up working.
Yeah, I think right now what you're seeing is on Trudeau's side, I think you just got the results of the latest internal polling and focus groups for Ontario. and I really believe that. I think over the last week or 10 days, they've been doing internal polling and they've been doing focus groups. And in these key writings that they've identified for October, their best bet seems to be going after Doug Ford. And on Doug Ford's side of things, he's been through a very tough first year. His polls are very down. He did a major shuffle. And I think for a reset for him, it's right out of the Trump playbook. I mean, you need to go on the offensive. So on both sides, you have political reasons for doing this, taking the initiative. But I think on Justin Trudeau's side, you're seeing that actually for Ontario, for those key seats that he needs, it seems that the climate change message is not enough. He has to do more, and that's why he's doing this turn on education.
We just talked, Melissa, about the importance of Quebec to the federal election. Talk a bit about the importance of Ontario and how that might be fueling a lot of what we're hearing. Well, I certainly think that election is going to be won in the 905, and I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a political strategist who didn't believe that. Quebec, important, of course. Lower mainland of BC, also important in terms of seat numbers. But I think there's probably a 20-seat swing here in Ontario of either 20 seats to the Liberals or 20 seats to the Conservatives, and rarely is that split up because the 905 tends to vote in a block, at least in recent history. So it's going to be important to message test these things, and that's exactly what we saw today. We saw a Prime Minister that was message testing. Hang on, I'm not going to give you my opinion on this, but here is my opinion on this. Blah, blah, blah. Doug Ford is bad. I think you're going to see a lot of that going up into or moving into October, and I think that you're going to see a premier on the offensive as well. well, convincing Ontarians that, hey, life probably isn't better for you 4 years later when Justin Trudeau said that it would be. It's more expensive, and we understand your economic anxieties, which is the exact reason he won the 905. So we'll see how that swing plays out.
If only there was a third party. You know, if only there was a third way that
where is that party?
Could vote. You know, it's a very good question as to what the opportunity is.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video. Thanks for watching.